One man is behind bars after an Alachua County grand jury indictment. We'll hear about all the other charges he's facing on top of murder.
People are feeling the effects of cold weather across north central Florida all this week. But it's not just people. We'll tell you how one shelter is protecting animals from the cold.
And will we need winter coats this weekend? Signs point to yes. You'll hear what you need to know about the rapidly approaching cold front heading our way. All that and more, First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Deputies in Alachua County say they have the man responsible for a murder at Cynthia Chestnut Park. This is First at 5 from WUFT News. I'm Caitlyn Schiffer.
And I'm Jacob Sedesse. Javon Barclay was indicted on a number of charges, including first-degree murder. WUFT's Juan Carlos Chowie is live at the park. Juan, investigators say Barclay was already in jail on a separate charge.
Back on September 17th, sheriffs responded to the sound of gunfire here at the park. When they arrived around 7 p.m., they found the victim with several gun wounds. According to the Alachua County Facebook page, the next day, deputies found Javon Barclay in the victim's stolen car. Investigators say he led them on a brief chase and was arrested on several unrelated charges. At the time, the shooting was among a number of crimes committed throughout the city, causing law enforcement to say the area is going through a gun violence crisis. In addition to the murder charge, Javon Barclay is facing grand theft of a firearm, possession of a firearm by a felon, felony driving with a suspended license, and evasion/eluding. Live from Cynthia Moore Chestnut Park, Juan Carlos Chowie, WUFT News.
Yeah, thank you, Juan. HCA Florida North Florida Regional Hospital managers put operations on hold for at least 4 days amid concerns about the sterilization of surgical tools. That's according to Fresh Take Florida. HCA Florida Communications Director Lauren Letellier says the hospital notified patients and described the situation as an operational matter. HCA officials say they hope to resume all surgeries this weekend. This weekend, we are expecting another blast of cold air. Some of our area could experience a hard freeze as the coldest air of the season moves into the state. As you can see in Lake City, temperatures could get to as low as 29. It is certainly unseasonably cold right now, and that unseasonably cold weather is set to continue.
You know, Jacob, this weather is so out of character for Florida. It's a part of a cooler weather pattern we've been seeing all week. We've got some live team coverage of the colder weather. WFT's Cassie DesVergers has more on protecting local animals. But we'll begin with UF forecaster AG Cornell, who is timing out our next freeze.
Thank you. So you can see that we can see a potential for a freeze this weekend, 33 degrees on Saturday morning in Gainesville. But right now, if you've been outside today, you'll notice things are a little bit warmer than they were yesterday. And as we go into tomorrow morning, we're going to see that our morning temperature is warmer, doing that warming trend, 50 degrees in Gainesville, 50 in Jacksonville. And all of that is happening and set to change because of our next winter storm that's heading this way. It's got a cold front that's going to really chill us this weekend.
Yeah, thanks, AG. And if you're shivering from this week's frigid temperatures like she was telling you about, it's important to remember your pets probably are too. WUFT's Cassie DesVergers joins us now to tell us how the community helps pets combat the cold. Cassie.
I went to Alachua County Animal Services today, and I found it's preparing for an influx of animals, which I'm told is not uncommon with weather like this. Whether it's hot or cold, you'll find Jeremy Gilbert Rolfe in his neighborhood with his 2 best friends.
I walk them a couple of times a day.
And they're ready to walk with their bestie.
The white one, he loves the cold, so it can't be cold enough for him. She wears a little coat.
Unlike these pooches, there are many animals that don't have protection from the cold. Alachua County Animal Services Education, Volunteerism, and Outreach Coordinator Sarah Gilly helps displaced animals find shelter.
It's very uncomfortable for animals. It can also be extremely unsafe, especially like the last couple of days we've dropped down below freezing. So it can definitely be a dangerous situation for animals.
Gilly says shelters across the nation are seeing an influx of animals.
This time of year can be a little bit harder with school starting back up, everyone returning to town. So we can definitely see animals start to come in more.
That's when assistance is necessary at Alachua County Animal Services.
We welcome adopters, we welcome fosters, new volunteers. We invite people to come out to the shelter to kind of help us try to get our population back down to stable numbers.
When the numbers are stable, she says that's when she can rest because the pets are safe, warm, and well-loved. Some of the donations accepted are blankets, dog beds, collars, leashes, harnesses, and toys. You may want to know how to foster a pet or volunteer at Alachua County Animal Services. Head over to WUFT.org for a convenient link to its website. Live in the studio, Cassie, DesVergers, WUFT News.
Thanks, Cassie. GRU Authority board members are leaving us in suspense. They decided not to decide on their payout to the city just yet. Members were set to vote whether to kill off or just reduce the longstanding government services contribution GRU has made to the city at a meeting last night. The total amount of this contribution has been cut before, but GRU Authority members say it might be time to eliminate it altogether to help balance finances at the utilities. They've tabled that for the time being. Meanwhile, city officials warn that cutting the contribution back could mean organizations around the city may lose funding.
Investigators in Marion County are looking into a threat on social media they say caused to beef up law enforcement at several schools. School officials say the threat posed no immediate danger and no actions were taken by any individual. But the school board is receiving backlash from neighbors for not communicating the threat until the students were already at school. Some parents even chose to pick their kids up out of safety concerns. Sheriff's deputies say they will keep a close eye on the schools listed.
January this month is Stalking Awareness Month, and North Central Florida law enforcement officials are trying to educate the community. WUFT's Eva Garcia is here to tell us what UF police officers are doing to help students protect themselves. Eva.
According to stalkingawareness.org, 18 to 24-year-olds experience the highest rates of stalking among adults, making these crimes more prevalent on college campuses. Up to 39% of students report being stalked since beginning college. The Stalking Prevention Awareness and Resource Center, or SPARC, lists the groups of students who are at a higher risk of experiencing stalking. They include students of color, those with disabilities, and students living off campus. Captain Latrell Simmons from UFPD tells me that when students are off campus, they need to be especially diligent when it comes to their safety.
If you're out on the town, partner with a friend, walk in well-lit areas, have your phone on you, so in the event that you encounter a situation that creates fear, you can call 911.
Captain Simmons also recommended students download the Gator Safe app for resources and opportunities to help keep them safe. UFPD says if you find yourself in any type of danger, call them at 352-392-1111. Live in the studio, Eva Garcia, WUFT News.
Thank you, Eva. Meanwhile, in Stark, the police department is closing its doors and combining with the Bradford County Sheriff's Office. Stark City Commissioners made this decision Tuesday after trying to trim overages in police and fire department budgets. Colonel Brad Smith says the transition should be seamless due to pre-existing shared communication systems and service call channels. City officials say the transition should be complete by March 1st.
Several local schools and counties will receive their share of $35 million from the state to grow semiconduction-related programs. This funding is part of $100 million that Governor Ron DeSantis is allocating to workforce development programs. State officials say they hope this funding will help build the workforce for the state's semiconductor industry, which state leaders say ranks in the top 5 jobs in this industry. Several North Central Florida counties and colleges are getting a part of this grant, which includes the College of Central Florida and Alachua and Marion counties.
Well, if you seem to think fast food prices are going up, you're not alone. I'm definitely going to need a grant for my Taco Bell budget.
This hits home as McDonald's is my favorite, but you may need to start budgeting for your favorite greasy foods. We'll start hearing how these increasing prices are affecting food access for some North Central Florida residents next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
If you're a fan of fast food, your prices are about to change. WFT's Kirsten Maselka gives us a look into the rising prices in the industry.
Many count on fast food every day to feed their family. Fast food connoisseur Jeremiah Ramos has his favorites.
Either like Checkers or McDonald's or maybe like Domino's.
Due to affordability and convenience, it's a pretty solid option for him.
If you're eating by yourself, but if you're buying a big meal, it's probably cheaper to go to the store.
The price of fast food is on the rise. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the price of eating out increased by 2.7% over the last year. With prices on the rise at places like McDonald's, what was once considered to be a cost-effective lunch option is now more of a luxury. This is causing many customers to be turned away, especially those who are on a tight budget. On the east side of Gainesville, fast food is practically the only option. How often would you say that you purchase food from fast food places?
Not real often.
Have you noticed maybe over the past few years fast food getting more expensive?
Oh, most definitely. It get more expensive.
And now, Jeremiah says he may no longer need the label fast food connoisseur. His cravings are less due to the cost.
I only buy it maybe once a week.
Once a week? Okay.
Like maybe on payday, but that's pretty much it.
And Jeremiah says that's pretty much how it will be unless the prices change. Kirsten Maselka, WUFT News.
Well, staying on consumer news, if you've been watching the past few days, as you know, Caitlyn, I spent last week in Las Vegas at the Consumer Electronics Show. I've been wanting to go for my entire life. It's the largest tech conference in the whole world, and I've been giving you a preview of some visions of the future each day this week. And in today's installment, I've got to look at some of the devices that'll help enhance our lives at home. Take a look. I left the conference wanting to bring some of the tech home with me, but soon enough, we quite literally will be. At Kohler's booth, company reps showed off Anthem Plus, a system that syncs lights and music to your shower and can recycle unwanted cold water without wasting it.
Nice to meet you.
Several companies hope we'll want to make robots a member of our family. LG's is supposed to meet you at your door and watch your house while you're gone. Samsung's can project information and videos on your wall no matter where you are.
Perfect. Molly, show me the inside of the oven.
And Amazon showed off the Moxie AI robot that will quiz your child and coach them in the right direction when they get something wrong.
But that's okay. You're doing a great job.
The robots aren't just inside. Aper is among the companies developing robotic lawnmowers and pool cleaners just like a Roomba, perfect for Florida. But sometimes it's hard to keep the power you need on with our storms. EcoFlow's building a battery system they say is more modular and affordable than your typical gas generator.
With a hurricane, like sometimes fuel might not be readily available, and so having a solar backup and having a battery is super incredibly, like, just a nice peace of mind thing to have.
Yeah, Nelson, who's better known by his YouTube channel named Jerry Rig Everything, actually told me he has a whole portion of his house hooked up to these batteries. You can connect up to 15 for a month of battery life for your whole house, but if I did the math correctly, that's about $50,000. So it's nice to know you can at least expand it. And I saw so many cool things, including a robotic manicure. How do you think?
You know
what do you think of this?
Since I can't even do my own nails, so I would love a robot to do my own.
All right. Yeah, and if you are just tuning in and you've been missing out on our coverage, you can pick up later this week on WUFT.org. But tomorrow, we'll be taking a look at some of the entertainment products you'll see. You'll get to see some very funny video of me in a virtual reality headset. Don't miss it.
Coming up next, we'll take a look at another blast of cold this weekend and how warm temperatures next week might even get into the 80s. More information about the forecast after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Taking a look at our freezing map, we can see that on Saturday morning, we have the potential for some freezing in Gainesville. If you go a little bit north of Stark and Jacksonville, we can even see potential for a hard freeze, being a freeze under 28 degrees. And that's all due to our next winter storm, which is racing across the country. This thing is going to head up onto the Great Lakes, but we will see a cold front that will accompany it. And with it, a whole bunch of cold air heading our way. Yes, on Friday, we're gonna have our cold front come through and we might see some shattered showers, and we do. But more importantly, we're gonna see some winds from the north that are just going to continue through Saturday and even into Sunday, and that's really going to drop our temperature down. Right now, though, we can look right over campus. We can see some overcast skies. Temperatures are comfortable, about 55 degrees. And we can see that across the board, temperatures are in the mid-50s, a little warmer on the coast, but not by much. On our radar, we can see some shattered rainstorms across north central Florida, just making their way from east to west. But for the rest of the night, we will see some general cooling. going into the high 50s. A little bit more chance of rain as we go overnight. Tomorrow, we're going to wake up to some mild temperatures in the mid 50 or low or high 50s or mild temperatures. As we go ahead to plan out our day tomorrow, we're going to see some rising temperatures up into the high 60s. This is not necessarily the cold weather we're thinking about, but it's going to be on its way. Taking a look at our 7-day outlook, we'll see our temperatures are pretty warm tomorrow, dropping down. But as we go through the rest of the week, we'll start to warm up, even through the 70s and even into the high 80s by next Thursday, and then off to the weekend.
With the playoffs right around the corner, things are heating up in local high school basketball. In boys hoops last night, Gainesville hosted PK Yonge at the Purple Palace. It was a back and forth affair to start out, but things got quickly out of hand for the Blue Wave. Gainesville High dominated the inside by grabbing rebounds and capitalizing on second chance points. The Hurricanes would rush out to a 21-point lead at the half and would hold that lead to win 67-46. Gainesville moves on to 10-8 on the season and will host Santa Fe High School tonight at 7:30. For PK Yonge, they fall to 8-9 and will travel tonight to face the Buchholz Bobcats. Switching over to girls hoops, Eastside hosted Wildwood last night, and what was supposed to be a tight matchup between two 11-3 teams quickly turned into quite the opposite. The Wildcats jumped out to an early lead, connecting from short and long range. On defense, Wildwood's relentless full-court pressure forced turnovers that would stretch the lead to 34-13 at the half. The Rams attempted to come back, slicing the deficit 48-28, but the Wildcats would seal it and come off a win and give them a 44-point win, 74-30. Eastside has a quick turnaround as they host Palatka tonight at 7:30. Continuing local high school basketball, here's tonight's slate. The Chiefland Indians will host the Newberry Panthers tonight at 7:30. Newberry comes into the game at 11-4, while the Indians currently sit at 6-7. Number 8 Trenton will take on the number 15 Brantford. The Buccaneers have been dominant at home with a current record of 5-1 at Brantford. One last notable game in the area is Dixie County versus Countryside Christian. While most teams are better at home, Countryside has struggled by going 0-4 this season. Moving on to girls hoops, the dominant Newberry Panthers will face the Rock. Oak Hall takes on 09 Union County. Finally, Buchholz plays Bishop Kennan. One last note, tonight the Tampa Bay Lightning will host the Minnesota Wild. Puck drops at 7.
Thanks, Miguel. Now on to AG with our last look at the weather. AG?
All right. Looking at our 7-day outlook, we can see that we will be dropping in temperature this weekend, but we will be climbing throughout the rest of the week. Take a look at the temperatures on Tuesday and Wednesday that are reaching into the 70s, and on Thursday, we can see some temperatures even in the 80s. Definitely not the norm.
That's all the time we have for First at 5 tonight. Have a good night.